Okay, season over. Well, the Premier League at least anyway. It's time to get into what this summer is all about. How Manchester United can navigate their way through this window and trying to overhaul this squad. 8th in the league, no European football unless we beat Manchester City. Ineos have been forced into making drastic changes around Manchester United's transfer plans. It's ever changed. Champions League, money there, players we're looking at, then back into the Europa League because Champions League might not be good enough, then completely out of Europe, and like the plan completely being thrown out of the window consistently because Manchester United have been awful. Let's not forget, 2 wins in a row to end the season. That's nice. If we beat Manchester City, excellent. It just does something that it just keeps United fans interested, I think. And you know what? Getting one over on City will be fantastic. But if we lose that final, then Manchester United's season has been the single worst ever. There's one more game to maybe put a bit of shine on it, but the transfers and Manchester United's dealings and business completely change. Sometimes some bits of it are really good. Some bits of it not so good for Manchester United. It's pretty embarrassing where we are at right now, but we have got chances to make a difference this transfer window. Ineos are in position with everyone that needs to be there, but the big problem we've got is actually getting money for the players we want out to try and reinvest into the Manchester United squad. It's not good enough. We can see that clearly. I want to get into bits from yesterday and the game after watching it back a little bit and getting some more of your opinions from the game yesterday and rounding up what was an okay end to the season, but the performance again and why Manchester United really do need to get into gear with this transfer window. It's Forever United TV. I'm Adam. Welcome along to the show, everybody. Hope you're fantastically well. Hope you're happy that the season is over. I am ecstatic that season is over. Premier League-wise, we've got one more game to go. One more outing against Manchester City in the final, and hopefully, well, I really do want to put one over on Manchester City. I'm not completely hopeful. I know what this team is. I know how bad we are. I know that Manchester City are 20 times better than Manchester United. The table never lies. You only have to look at the amount of points we are between both clubs. Can United turn up on a day? Of course we can turn up on a day, but that's for later in the week. Looking ahead to what we really want to talk about and what we really want to happen is off the pitch, looking into next season. Now, looking at Jadon Sancho in particular, the news came out. It was an exclusive that came out in the Sun regarding Jadon Sancho's price tag. Now, Manchester United have moved to make Jadon Sancho's price tag a little bit more expensive, so actually asking for more money. They want in the region of 50 to 55 million. It was previously touted and previously reported that Jadon Sancho would be let go for between 30 and 45 million, and we sort of all agreed on that, but the form that he's in, the situation at Manchester United, Ineos are in situ and they want to drive a harder bargain. They want to get the most out of every single player that we've got. Jadon Sancho for 50 million, playing the way he is for Dortmund, some would say that's good value. Dortmund can't afford him. He wants to stay in Germany. That's the problem we've got with Jadon Sancho, and he does have to take a massive pay cut. Do you think Jadon Sancho will take that pay cut and actually stay at Dortmund? This is the sticking point for me with Jadon Sancho. I think Dortmund, and reports are that Dortmund, from Germany this is as well, that Dortmund can afford Jadon Sancho. They can afford the price, but they cannot afford the wages. It blows their whole structure up into smoke. I'm not surprised it blows it up into smoke. Manchester United's wages compared to everybody else's, and when people are taking some of our players, there has to be some sort of compromise, and it is going to come down to Jadon Sancho. Does he have to go? No, he doesn't. He's under contract. Can he dig his heels in and say, I'm not going anywhere, make this work for me? Someone has to give way elsewhere. Of course he can. He's a Premier League footballer, a modern-day footballer, holds all the cards when it comes to these sorts of deals. It's not like it used to be in the old days when the club said you're being sold, we've agreed this price, see you later. They're going to discuss your wages there. Now the agents and the players are in the perfect position where they can demand more, and the deal can go through because personal terms are not agreed. Jadon Sancho can just sit tight and say, look, you guys make this deal happen. I want to stay in Dortmund. Can you negotiate with Manchester United and make this happen for me? And obviously, it will prosper you as well. United need that Jadon Sancho money. It looks like we're struggling in the Mason Greenwood department with everything going on. And it kicked off again at weekend with abuse coming towards Mason Greenwood in Spain. Not good scenes. It's making everything more and more difficult in that Greenwood saga anyway. So will it just be a case that to keep the aggro away and deal with it. We've discussed this before. Mason Greenwood stays in Getafe for another season on loan. Another deal would have to be negotiated there. But Jadon Sancho now is key for getting any money in this summer. So the 40 to 60 million we probably would have missed out on regarding finances from football, like Champions League and stuff like that, and competing in other competitions. We're going to have to try and make it up through player sales. Player sales for Manchester United has always been the bugbear. It's always been the issue with Manchester United when it comes to windows. Yes, everyone gets frustrated when we overpay for players, but I think even more frustrating for most of the fan base is that we do not get good value for our players when selling them on. It's like we just bend over and say, yeah, name your price. Okay, we'll accept that. That's no problem at all. It's poor. It's not of a big club like Manchester United are, and I think this is where I'm more excited now to see, like, okay, we've heard all the talking from Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos and what's going to happen and how things need to change. Let's see what they are in practice. Let's see what we've got right now. We've all bigged them up. Some people are still not having Ineos. Some people are still not saying. Some people are still saying, sorry, that they're not convinced by it. It's all big. It's all a big fluff. It's all just PR and a load of talk. Nothing is really going to happen and everyone's going to see it. Look, I'm holding on to what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said. I'm seeing progress off the field. I'm hoping that can all come together and help us in the summer as well. I don't expect miracles. We're in a tough situation where we're having to sell a project to bring players in. And to get rid of players after our worst season ever, people are going to look at that. Agents are going to look at that. Clubs are going to look at that and go, why would we buy your players? Why would we want to overspend on a team that clearly is underperforming? Like, who wants Manchester United players? The players we want to get rid of, nobody wants. And that's why we've got so many players running the end of their contracts down and leaving the football club. That's all good and well, but unless we get the recruitment right this summer and United are not back in the Champions League next season, or it really does come down to it. When you think about it, I've had this debate with many people off camera. I've had it with some of the live chats as well. Like, I think it was Jonathan who said it to me a few days ago, and I keep remembering back to the comment, Adam, would you be disappointed if a new manager comes in and doesn't make top 4 next season? The more you look at it, the more you realise that Manchester United have to be in the Champions League. So this summer is more important than ever to make sure that the transfer is done and the dealing is done in terms of players out, making money to make these other transfers happen, is vital to Manchester United moving forward. We cannot afford to be another season out of the Champions League. That money isn't going to keep coming around. So what I mean by that is, we look at the squad right now, who is worth any value? I mean, guys, you tell me in the chat as well, who is worth anything in Manchester United's current first team squad that we can get good money for, that we actually want to get rid of? And I know the players that are worth money, and the players that are decent enough that other clubs would want to come in for, but they're players that we probably need to keep, especially this summer anyway. I don't see much value at all. That's why Sancho is key. Sancho is massive to this transfer window. If we can recoup, I think, over... I don't see United getting the 50 million for Sancho. I don't. I would be massively impressed with Ineos if we got 50 million for Jadon Sancho. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be more in the region of the 35 to 40. And you know what? Right now, I'm taking 40 million for Jadon Sancho, and I'm running all the way to that next transfer for a player that we need in at the football club. Because that literally there could pay for that new centre-back that we need. Because let's not forget, Evans, Varane, both leaving. One of Lindelof or Maguire also leaving. What are you scraping together out of 3 first-team centre-backs there, value-wise? Not an awful lot. Because 2 are going on a free, and you've got between Maguire and Lindelof, who you sell this summer to actually raise, 20 million max for Maguire, I would say, at his age? Lindelof, honestly, I think he's worth 10 million. He's peanuts. He's shit. He's not good enough. And I don't think anyone in the Premier League is going to be scrambling around and fighting to get him in their team. He isn't a he isn't top half table Premier League anyway. There could be someone down in the lower part of the division that keeps him there, that wants to keep him in the Premier League. Personally, I think abroad, Italy, somewhere like that for Victor Lindelof, 10 million, just see you later. He's going for free next summer. You have to get rid of him. Harry Maguire, I'm looking at it there, like you're losing 3 centre backs for nothing, next to nothing. If it is Lindelof, which I would prefer it to be, then 3 centre backs gone for 10 million, and all of them have contributed massively this season, and we are guaranteed to lose 3. This isn't a guessing game. This isn't if, buts and maybes with these transfers. This is actual facts that we are losing 3 first-team centre-backs. Johnny Evans has played as many games as anyone this season. Varane, as we know, and obviously Lindelof has come in different parts this season as well. So crucial to Ten Hag, crucial to Manchester United's first team. We can debate the quality of the players and the performances all we want, but what we have to look at now, with no games left, and these players not contributing next season, how much money can we get to reinvest into the squad? F all. Really, when you look at it, that's the reality. So Jadon Sancho, dealing with what I just said there with the defenders, and what we can make and who is actually leaving, Greenwood's not coming back. We're not going to be able to sell him for big money. Jadon Sancho is massive to this transfer window, and all he has to do is say, no, thank you, sorry Eric, there's the middle finger, flip the bird. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to make life hell for you, because he's probably thinking that you've made life hell for me, and I'm going to throw you right under the bus here. This is, again, another reason why I feel like Manchester United will end up having to change manager this summer. It's got nothing to do with who we can and can't get out of, and what manager can get the most out of certain players. I just feel like this playing squad still is not understanding what Ten Hag wants, and we need another way and another style of playing. I'm not sure if Ten Hag can produce that. So Sancho, we need at least 40 million out of him. We could maybe scrape 10 together for Victor Lindelof, and there's 50 million, which is pretty much just about covering what we're going to lose through being in the Champions League. And then football finances take over from there, and we do deals on the drip and payments over season after season after season. That's how it works. So with them players leaving and the wages that they're leaving behind as well, that's where it probably helps out just for PSR. Because let's not forget, PSR is all we're dealing with unless we beat Manchester City next season. Financial fair play is gone because we're not in Europe. How embarrassing is that? The fact that Manchester United don't even have to worry about FFP because we're not in bastard Europe. Again, just let these little things sink in. And then realise, when you're starting next season and you've seen the Champions League draws, the Europa League draws, God, we're scraping the barrel with the Conference League draws, and we're like, let's just wait for the League Cup. I think Manchester United finishing 8th. I'm pretty certain we have to go into the first round of the League Cup as well. We do. That is how bad this is. Like, remember, like, you get a bye, don't you, in the early rounds of the League Cup? Manchester United now, I'm pretty certain, will have to play the first round of the League Cup too. That's a game that we never had to play before. So we're in the small pot with all of the smaller clubs, whereas like the top teams in the Premier League don't have to play that first game. So at least it's one extra game that we can play anyway, but that shows you how far we have fallen. So when it comes to a disaster of a season, that's why it's a disaster of a season, and why I've put the poll up right now. I've just said, is the FA Cup, if we win the FA Cup, is that a good season? Another trophy, 2 trophies in a row, we're back in the Europa League, and everything that I've just been talking about, completely irrelevant, because it changes everything. It means we're not playing that first game of the League Cup. It means that we are in that Europa League draw. We do have to abide by financial fair play, but it all comes down to one game. One game. And it just seems like we have been clinging on to this one game now for about 8 weeks. Like, it's so disappointing. Like, yes, we got through the game yesterday. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. I'm going to come to the chat regarding the transfers and what you think might happen as well, guys. Get some prices in on what you think these players are actually worth. Rather have 10 people like Rashford on his bad days than a green prick back in the UK. I don't want Rashford I just can't handle Rashford, mate. I'm talking football matters now anyway. But Rashford, Sancho, Maguire, 125 million if we sell all 3. Does Rashford come into this now? Does Rashford come into the reckoning now to the transfer window? Do we need to be selling Marcus Rashford? Can you look at it? he is in the way of another forward coming in. Whether you like him or not, he's in the way because he's not playing well enough. There's no guarantee that any of this squad is going to play well next season. We've had some promising signs from Garnacho, Mainu, Højlund. Good performances this season. Leacher is back. They'll always improve him massively. There is a good 5 players there, I would say, that are definitely worth working around. Bruno Fernandes had an alright season, 6. So half of the first team, I would say, is manageable going into next season. Half of it needs completely changing. So that's what we're looking at right now. I think Marcus Rashford is the key to this. I was waiting for someone to bring up a name in the chat as how we get through and make the money we need to invest back into this squad. Marcus Rashford, I think, comes into it now because you're looking at who else has got value. Marcus Rashford not being in Europe, does that put him off? Does he want to go and play in Europe? Because like I said, there's no guarantee next season that we're going to get back in. If we cannot spend money because we're out of Europe and we can't sell the likes of Jadon Sancho, we're dealing with the same team. So that, in that case, if it is the same team, we know that Ten Hag hasn't got the capabilities to get this team over the line and get us back in the Champions League. Whether everyone's fit or not, are you confident that we can make it back into the top 4? To not finish in the Champions League 2 seasons in a row, that's the gamble you're taking with Ten Hag. If it's a different style of football and a different approach, that's where the new manager brings United back to the table, I feel. Because yesterday we seen a Brighton side which was decimated with injuries. Absolutely decimated. It was like anyone playing anywhere, all over the place. Like big players missing from that team. You only have to think of the likes of Matoma, Evans, Solly Marsh, people like this. I don't even think Dunk was playing yesterday, from what I can remember either. They have got some big players out of that team, Brighton, and they played us off the park. Yes, they didn't take their chances. United won the game. And I had a feeling, I said to Graham, who was stood next to me and Kaz in the stadium, and I said, United are going to win this. When it got to half-time, I thought, United are going to win this, because you know what? We can hold out. We can defend last ditch like anybody, and we did yesterday. And there was a big sort of there's a big point there for actually defending till the death and just trying to clear everything. When you're not playing well, you get behind the ball, you defend, you stay in the game, you're not playing well. And there was a big case for that yesterday there with United, because the longer that game went on, Brighton tired, and it gets to you mentally, and United just took their chances. I knew when the subs came on it was going to make a difference. Rasmus Højlund basically involved in both goals straight away. A young, fresh Rasmus Højlund off the bench is working wonders for Ten Hag at the moment. I'm still not starting Scott McTominay though. I mean, Rasmus has to start in the derby at weekend, but I said, look, that's what happens in football. United will win this game now. I felt that they needed to score in that first half, Brighton, and I think Manchester United would have struggled at that point. But the longer it stayed 0-0, the more we were in it. But you cannot tell me that was impressive yesterday. You cannot tell me that was Manchester United moving forward. Yes, we got the win. Yes, we had some moments. There were adjustments in the second half. It was good to see. Ten Hag actually alluded to that in his press conference as well, in pushing people further forward. We were a bit more aggressive in the tackle. We pressed them quicker, but we could have been dead and buried, and probably should have been dead and buried in that first half again. Another one of them games, and I said it in my vlog after it yesterday. I said, look, this is how we've played all season. Sometimes you win them, sometimes you don't. But that's no way to progressively move forward for this football team. We cannot have that. We cannot accept that being absolutely outplayed for 60 minutes and then scraping a goal is going to be the way we move forward. More often than not, you are going to get a good hiding, or you're on the other end of a bad result. And 14 defeats and finishing 8th in the league tells you exactly what we deserved in this season. Deserve it? I don't like him. I said my points. I said them over weekend. But you could see that he had no one to work with, and they still played exactly the same way they always play. Now that is what we don't have under Erik Ten Hag. We don't have that direction. The perfect case yesterday of having injuries and not using them as an excuse was Brighton's performance against us yesterday. They had everybody missing that was anyone really in that side, and they still played exactly the same way, because every single player is on board and coached on that training ground to play that way for De Zerbi. That's just my point on that. And Manchester United could probably move forward. If we can't make the money, maybe a different change in tack with manager is where Ineos are looking. I think that might be another reason why they're just waiting around to see if we are actually in Europe and we can attract more players. Without the quality of players coming to the club, it has to be a different system. It has to be a different style. I just don't think... I've not seen enough of Ten Hags football to convince me. I've seen enough of it, but I've not seen anything that's convinced me that Manchester United can move forward and get back in that Champions League with Ten Hag as manager next season if we cannot attract more quality players. This is why it's so intriguing this summer. Chelsea bought a whole new squad 8 months ago. They finished above United. They're in a miles better position than United. Big needs to get checkbook out. United since 75. I don't think United will get rid of players. We fans want maybe people out of contract and players in the last year. Again, but that's like a point I said. We just don't have enough money. Casemiro to Saudi is only good transfer, Max. Yeah, good for a fee. I definitely agree with that, Mac. It's one that we definitely need to look into, and I think that would give us a little bit of something, definitely in the value within the market. Like, how much can we get out of a Saudi team for Casemiro? If we can scrape together 30-40 million for Casemiro, good business, because we can replace Casemiro. Lindelof be perfect for Serie A. I agree with that one. James says, no one will pay 50 for Sancho and his wages are scandalous. 20 to 30 max, as no one in the Prem will take him and they are the ones with the money. No, look, Dortmund can afford him, but they can't afford his wages. It's up to Jadon Sancho, basically, is what we're saying. Jadon Sancho has to take a pay cut. Otherwise, this is going to be a problem for United in the summer. Everton will need Maguire. We have got an update. I'm going to bring up the Branthwaite one in a minute, actually, guys. I know you guys have got a lot to say about Branthwaite, but there is an update on that as well. I'm going to get into that. I just want to do a few more of your comments. Craig says, why people believe people leaving on a free is getting rid of them. You're not getting rid of players. They are leaving on a free. Getting rid of players is basically selling the players you don't want. Yeah, United players have taken advantage of United's structure and their wage system. It's as simple as that. Being a rich club, and now all of a sudden we are skint. This always happens when we have to spend money. This goes right back to the days of Lewis Edwards and a load of tripe. Bro, no manager can get these players to play. Keep it real. Yeah, they can. I'm sorry. Someone will play Ahmad ahead of Rashford more often. Someone will play Rasmus Højlund ahead of McTominay. Do you know what I mean? It's we can definitely play ball. This team can play ball. There are a lot of the players that need to leave, but I'm just not having the excuse that Ten Hag has been coming out with. It's just continuously been all season, and I'm sick of it. No players can work on the Ten Hag. Keep it real, says Boxing Straight Talk. Right, Knight. And if it's United's fault for giving players such high wages, it's beyond madness. Well, it is our fault, isn't it? It is our fault, right, Knight. We've got a super chat in from Akash. Thank you. Fully agree, Adam. People haven't talked about how Mainu was marked out of the game by Baleba yesterday. Overhaul is needed to build around the likes of Mainu. Definitely. We do have another super chat in here somewhere, I think. Yes, there it is. Isaac, thank you very much, mate. You're my favourite person to watch. You're the GOAT, Isaac. Really appreciate that, mate. Thanks for the super chat and the kind words. Afternoon to you as well, Neil. Everyone who's just jumping in. We're talking how Manchester United make this summer happen now that we have had the disaster and are completely out of Europe. Obviously, all pending on the Manchester derby and the FA Cup final. Everything can change on that. But if you just need a bit of an update and you've just joined us, Manchester United will be playing in the early rounds of the League Cup because we're out of Europe completely at the moment. We don't have to adhere by financial fair play in Europe anymore. It's just PSR in the Premier League, which might help us out. But would you not rather just be dealing with that because you've had a successful season? How do Manchester United make money in the transfer market with 3 centre-backs going for the likes of 10 million between them? We need Sancho, we need Casemiro, we need big players being sold, and this is what we're talking about this morning. Everton are reportedly waiting on bids to come in for Jared Branthwaite. 50 million, I think City and Manchester United both willing to bid. So this is like the stance that Manchester United will take now. Beforehand, if United and City both went into the market and both went after the same player, United would just offer more wages, offer more money. Stupid. Where Manchester City would just say, that's our price, we'll wait. We're not paying. Simple as, move on. No drama. That was under Berardo. So City's stance will still be the same. They'll still have the same structure. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But what we've got now is Berardo in situ, and we're going to be in the same boat. So then how do Manchester United attract that player to our club instead of the 4 in a row champions, the treble champions from last season? How do we attract players to Manchester United with the season we've just had, with the way that we're playing football? There's a lot more that needs to be done now. This transfer window, as exciting as it is also very worrying for the football fans of this football club, because we don't know if we can attract players the same anymore. We can't offer stupid wages because Ineos are in and they're structuring the club the right way. We're not going to do it. We're not going to succumb to demands of agents and players anymore, which is good. But we have to accept as fans that means we're not going to get that so-called marquee type player. That's what's not going to happen anymore with Manchester United. It's going to be players, probably younger players that have got plenty of sell-on value and plenty of marketability going forward for football reasons. Not commercial. Forget that. We've already been down that road before. This won't happen under Ineos. You just know it won't, just by what's going on now with Dan Ashworth. And now we've not given Newcastle what they want. It's going to be the same with every single player. So, realistically, we have to be patient. It's not going to be an easy summer for Manchester United, and definitely not any easier now because we finished 8th. 8th. The table is right at the bottom of your screen there, guys. 8th with -1 goal difference. It's mid-table. Mid-table fodder. That's what Manchester United are. And it's bleeding embarrassing is what it is. It really is. God. But don't forget, last 2 games, no one's mentioned injuries. It's because we won. The club needs to deal cleaner from top to bottom. Andrew Williams, why are you being pedantic? Are you a City fan? Everyone's a bit thingy. Like it's awkward, right? The season's over. We've got that 1 game to go with Manchester City, and the fan base it's all over the place. It's all over the place. We are an embarrassment. Like I had Brighton fans walking past me on my vlog yesterday, laughing at us. Because they knew what team they had out, and they knew that they played us off the park and just didn't finish their chances and should have had us dead and buried. They were laughing at us saying we can't even take our full allocation. I don't know, from where I was sat, it looked packed, but you guys tell me, were the empty seats on TV in the United away end? I'm not sure. I know a lot of tickets got sent back. A lot of the fan base are talking with defeat. They're just not going to the games. And they're the facts. That's what's happening right now. The style of football, whether you are one of these hardcore fans that just goes for the crack. A lot of fans just go for the crack to be with their mates and cheer and sing no matter what happens on the pitch. You have the other type of fans that want to see entertaining football and be entertained. There are some fans that are just stuck in their ways and this is their life. They go to every game no matter what. But it still doesn't change the fact that Manchester United are not playing a attractive brand of football. And that's the big problem you've got. What is the profile of player? An agent looking at bringing his client to Manchester United, now he's going to demand certain amounts of game time. This is like the modern world of how players negotiate deals, and I think this is what we're going to get and what we're going to struggle with big time. Adam, it wasn't full. I wanted to come down and get in the end. In that end, yeah, I couldn't see it obviously because I was in it, but. If it is a case that Manchester United fans weren't turning up to Brighton, it's because it's a long way down, end of the season. They'd rather stay home and not watch Manchester United and waste the money, because it is a lot of money to travel around following your football club. Anyone who does it would know this. And it's tiring as well. Late on a Sunday, away in Brighton. We didn't get back till gone 12 o'clock last night. And some people are just fed up of it because they're not getting entertainment and not getting value for money. It's the same why a lot of tickets have been sent back for the final against Manchester City. A Manchester derby final, and tickets are being sent back by United fans. It's unheard of. And that's the brand of football. There's nothing else you can talk about. Forget your injuries, forget everything else. It's the brand excuse me. It's the brand of football that's being played which is putting fans off. It's boring. There's no stability to it at all. And only now against Newcastle and Brighton have we seen signs of little changes here and there. In-game management from Ten Hag changing up a little bit. It seems to me it's coming out of sheer desperation to make things happen. And lo and behold, when he's done it, Manchester United have prospered from it. We have had a really bad run against Newcastle. We beat them. We've had a really good run, really poor run against Brighton. We beat them. I'm taking nothing. We probably met them teams at the right stage of the season at the right moment. I'm not taking much away from the 2 wins. It papers over a lot of cracks because performances in both of them games could have easily gone either way. We shipped a shed load of chances in both games. And like I said yesterday, I don't want to go into it again anymore, but it's just the way the season has gone with United. And that, for me, is why people are not going to the games and why they're not bothering. Adam, that was the easiest away ticket to get hold of yesterday. It was. There was loads available. Absolutely loads available because no one could be asked. Graham's dead right in what he said there. And like Mark was in the stadium in the Brighton end as well. He could see the empty seats. And for fans coming out laughing at us while we're doing our work outside, like Brighton fans bantering Manchester United. Like, that's where we're at now. That's where we're at. Everyone is laughing at us. And you want to understand why? We're fed up with what we're watching. That how can we defend our team when we're not seeing any progression at all, when we're not seeing any style of football? It's impossible. It is impossible to defend Manchester United right now. We've got wins, and that's great. Like, it's just stemmed the flow of negativity. That's all it's done. Thankfully, we've finished the Premier League season with a couple of wins. It is our worst season ever in terms of position finished, but not in points. And he made me laugh, Ten Hag, in the press conference yesterday when he said, look, like before 58 points got you in 6th. This season we got 60 and we finished 8th. Oh, it doesn't matter. The table doesn't lie, Eric. It does not lie. No one stands still. Jesus, like you look at Aston Villa, they scraped into the top 4 with, what was it, 68 points, I think. That's quite low for the 4th place finish. But no one's talking about that. You just, look, the table doesn't lie. When it comes down to it, it's about how many games you win. That's what matters. Points are points, yes. But the position and a tough league, that's why we're in the situation that we're in right now. It is the hardest league in the world. And you're just not going to get away with it. You're not going to get away with little lame excuses all the time. No one cares. No one cares about how many players are injured and what's happened in key positions. Everybody in the league has had the same thing. Let's get into the comments and see what you guys are saying. We have the Euros, a transfer window, can't guarantee. So where's that one gone there? Can't guarantee what that's going to be like. Pre-season friendlies, new manager. There's a lot of stuff to go on. It's like what Mark said on his vlog yesterday. There's no time really for a new manager to come in and get to grips and change the structure and the culture and everything. Leaf, welcome to the members club. Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate that. We've got over 100 likes as well, guys. Creeping up to the 150 mark. Please give the video a like. Well over 6.5 in the room with us. Thank you for joining us. This is probably going to be like the way it goes through now, like transfer updates on what's happening. Like, we have got the game, and obviously talk is mainly going to be about the FA Cup final this week and build up to it. But straight after that, it is going to be... It's going to enter silly season, and then we're dealing with all sorts. And we're going to find out what Ineos are really made of. Toms with the super chats. As a kid, getting the autograph of any Man United player was so exciting and cherished. Who Would you want an autograph of 90%? Who would want an autograph of 90% of that squad? Sad. It's just the way it is, man. I was there yesterday with United as they were coming in on the coach, the security detail, and the whole circus around Manchester United. I don't mean circus in a joking way or anything, but like the whole organisation and how Manchester United are treated when they're in town. They are still a big draw. They are still a massive draw, and lots of kids want autographs. There's a lot of people that don't watch football the same way that we do. Everyone's different. Everyone will look at the results and go, what are you moaning about, Adam? We won 2-0. I don't look at it that way. I can't look at it that way. I'm different. I look at the game and I go, we were lucky again. I want to talk about a game where we absolutely deserved the win, and there's not even a question about it. How many times can you say that that's happened this season? Welsh to the bone, welcome to the members club, gifted by Domingo. Thank you, Domingo, really appreciate that. A couple new members in the house now already, and creeping up to that 150 like mark. I like it, everyone. This season there is about 20 points we should have had, but we lost from winning in the last 10 or even got a draw. No game management from the players. You don't need a manager to tell you to keep it. Well, sometimes you do, I would say, Mark. But the bigger problem, I understand that, like, when we've been in winning positions, we haven't deserved to be in them winning positions. It's been through luck. I understand what you're saying about it. Like players from winning positions and it all changes, but is it still sustainable? That type of football. Like Brentford, from a winning position, we should have been out of sight. We were absolute dog shit. Everybody knows it. Like we maybe earned, like I would say the Chelsea one definitely was one that we could have handled a lot better. That's down to them players on the pitch. But it's, again, like every one of these games, by the time we've got to that lead, it could have been the other way. And I know that's football and everyone's in games, but Manchester United's performances have been horrendous, like to a point where everyone's laughing at us and we're just easy to play against. Like everyone's come to Old Trafford this season thinking that they can win the game. That should never happen. But it has. And they've taken games to Manchester United, and we've been embarrassed on our own pitch by teams that are way down the league table that shouldn't ever be competing against us. Ten Hag in, he's taking Manchester to the Championship. Thanks, Jake. You have no give me any specifics, says... are you talking to me, Andrew, or is that another conversation? Sorry, I've jumped into someone else's again now, I think. Let's see what else we've got. The Honest Tiger, results are all that matters. We could play absolutely rubbish next season, but win every game 1-0 in the 90-plus minutes. Would you accept that? No. I wouldn't. And that's just me, mate. I'm being honest there. I want to see a good brand of football. I understand you're going to lose games, and I wouldn't have a problem losing games as long as we actually performed. Like, I want to see Manchester United have an element of control. There were stages in that game yesterday where our man management against Brighton in the second half was good. And you know what? That's because we got the lead. One punt upfield, Rasmus battling away with it, and Dalot took that chance. He gambled, and he got it, and he finished it well. It wasn't a well-worked move. It was a long punt, and we took advantage of poor defending from Brighton. You're always in a game for that, and I said earlier on today, like if you're scrapping around and last-ditch defending, trying to stay in a game, there is a part of that you need. There's a lot of that you need in Premier League football. Just stay in the game. When you're not playing well, stay in the game, you'll get a chance. It's all right saying that if you've played a season and been decent in a season, and you've had a style of play and look okay. Manchester United have looked shit all season, and just scrambling around for wins like we did yesterday is not going to get us into the Champions League. You do need to have a nucleus and a basis of a way of playing, and we don't have that. That's my biggest concern, and it is really shit to watch. It is poor. When you walk out of the ground and you know you've got away with a win, yeah, there's an element of it that's good, and you can banter the other side and everything like that, but it does start to wear down you eventually. Like, when are we actually going to be comfortable in a game? Like we've had other teams even lower than us in the division, that have had more comfortable games than United this season. It's not ideal. It's not a way forward, and we're hoping that come the start of next season, that these are all the things that hopefully change at Manchester United. Whether it's with new signings, whether it's with a new manager, whether it's with Ten Hag learning from last season, whichever way, it has to change, because it won't get us back into the Champions League, and that's a bare minimum, I think, for Ineos. Wednesday, I'm going to try and get tickets for the final when they are open to all members. That's why I can't get rid of the Glazers, because other fans snap up the tickets. United are always going to be a big draw. There's nothing we can do about that. Absolutely nothing we can do about it. We're always going to sell tickets. We're always going to sell merchandise. We are massive. It doesn't matter how successful the likes of City, Newcastle, Arsenal, all these other teams, Aston Villa, no one is going to be bigger than Manchester United. It's as simple as that. And that's not me being an arrogant United fan. The facts are there. Like, we have more supporters than anyone. Our revenues are up there with everyone's, and we're not getting anywhere near any major competition or winning anything. But we will always make a shed load of money. We will always be profitable to owners, to people in the money side of the game. It's just what Manchester United are. We are a juggernaut. Sadly, the football hasn't kept up with the standards of the marketing side of the club. But we will always sell tickets. Jonathan is right. It's just inevitable. We have zero movement off the ball, whether it's running into space or just pass and move. No, we definitely don't. We definitely don't. But guys, yeah, that is your updates all done for this first Monday after the season has finished. Well, again, we got the FA Cup, but I'm talking Premier League. It was a disaster of a Premier League season. Let's not kid ourselves. And hopefully, after the weekend, we can start looking into bringing in some new recruits and moving forward. But until then, well, God knows. Guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you give the video a like on the way out. Cheers, everybody. Make sure you're subscribing as well if you're new to the channel. That gets you inside, and you can then communicate with us and get involved in the live chat. Thanks again, everyone. Super chats, new members. Download our app. SofaScore at bottom right corner is your QR code there, or there is a link in the description. Completely free football app. It all goes to helping the channel. If you want to help out for nothing, then download the SofaScore app. A brilliant app with everything you need football related for your football team, all the way down the pyramid. Stats, ratings, odds in-game, and then stories and headlines outside of the pitch as well. And optimally me as well on the left-hand side of your screen there. Scan the QR code, bringing the doctors to your home. All tests, blood tests, water tests, everything that you can possibly have done at the doctors or at the hospital, but in the comfort of your home. Scan the QR code there, have a look at their deals that they've got on, and use my discount code there as well, everybody. And that's us. We are finished. Thank you very much, everyone. Brilliant show again. I will see you all later on at 6:30. Hopefully you all have a great day, and we can go over everything else and bring you what news has come out of the club through the rest of this afternoon. And by the way, guys, episode 5 of the United Couple podcast will be out at 8 o'clock tonight. Make sure you're tuned in. I'll remind you all later as well. Everything that's happened this weekend, behind the scenes and all the funny bits, all in this week's episode. So make sure you tune in for that. The link for that is in the description. Click on that, give it a subscribe, and be ready to go. Go catch up with the first 4 episodes that are on the channel there now, guys. That's it.